The laughter of the Senate echoed like thunder in a mausoleum. But even thunder fades. Elise's body lay still, the last flicker of her voice trembling in the air. They don't fear us yet, but they will. Across the stars, silence fell. Not just silence, but something older, heavier. The kind of silence that comes before a storm that doesn't pass. The kind that levels cities. Billions of humans across colonies, moons, orbitals. They all heard her die. She had walked into their lion's den not to fight, but to speak, to reason, to beg for peace. And they shot her in the heart. They thought it was just a message, a warning to Earth. But it wasn't a warning, it was ignition. On Mars, a mining foreman dropped to his knees beside a cracked communication panel. On Titan, schoolchildren stared at their screens, the lesson plan forgotten. And on Earth, beneath layers of command, silence turned to movement. Old men in dark suits stood up. Red keys turned, glass broke. Because Earth remembers. We remembered the girl with tired eyes who never learned to hate. We remembered her promise. Let me try. Let me be the bridge. And now her bridge was ash. They didn't just kill Elise Thorne. They killed our hope. And when hope dies, humans do not surrender. We evolve. The first to speak was Admiral Reese. His voice cracked like dry bone. Activate the vault. No one questioned it. There was no meeting, no vote. There was only one line of defense left. A whisper from Earth's buried past. Revenant Protocol. The order transmitted through quantum link channels, bypassing every safeguard. The system didn't ask for passwords. It recognized desperation and despair. On Luna's far side, a crater split open. Under kilometers of bedrock and cooling units, the seal broke with a groan that sounded like the planet weeping. Inside, he waited, suspended in stasis, wrapped in armor that had never failed, wired into a neural core that learned how to break empires. He had no name anymore. They burned that out of him during Phase 3. But there was one name he still answered to. Elise. She had been the last one who could talk to him. The only one he listened to after the War of Red Heaven. She called him back when the rage nearly drowned him. She made him remember the stars weren't just targets, that some things, some people, were still worth protecting. And now, she was gone. When the Revenant's eyes opened, the stasis fluid boiled away. No alarms, no roar, just one breath. And then, movement. The first time in 70 years. His heart wasn't beating for war. It was beating for justice, for vengeance, for the promise he made to the girl who believed in the galaxy more than it deserved. They shouldn't have touched her. They shouldn't have laughed. Because Earth's wars are not elegant. They are not clean. We fight with grief and steel, with memory and madness. And now they'd see what a broken promise looks like in human hands. His ship was waiting, old, scarred, reforged a dozen times over. But it had never failed. The AI whispered, "Revenant? Target?" He didn't speak, just uploaded a single visual. Elise's final moment, her eyes, her blood, her silence. "Target confirmed," the AI said. "Time to retribution, 19 hours. He launched alone, because some wars need no army. Some wars are personal. And as his ship tore through the void, the stars ahead didn't look like hope anymore. They looked like graves. The ship wasn't fast. It was relentless. Forged during the machine purge, repurposed for one purpose only. Pursuit without pause. Precision without pity. Inside the cockpit, the Revenant sat like a statue carved from war itself. His hands never trembled. His breath never rushed. But behind those eyes, history bled like old wounds reopened. His mind scanned the faces. The senators who laughed. The executioner who smiled. The guards who dragged Elise's body away, as if she were just cargo. He didn't see politicians or soldiers. He saw targets, and one by one, he marked them. Across the galaxy, systems buzzed in confusion. The Terran Union had gone dark. No diplomatic relays, no announcements, just stillness. The kind of stillness predators make before they pounce. The Senate brushed it off. "They're grieving," said one admiral. "They'll negotiate again," said another. But there was one who knew better. Grand Strategist Urel, the oldest mind in the council, rose to her feet mid-session. They didn't go silent, she said. They went hunting. And by the time her words reached the others, by the time they truly understood, it was already too late. The Revenant hit the outer patrol stations first, not to destroy, but to send a message. No blood, no screams, just silence. Entire listening posts. Gone. Satellites found only drifting hulls, cut clean, systems frozen mid-broadcast. It was a surgical ghost, a shadow that didn't trigger alarms because by the time anyone noticed, he wasn't there anymore. The executioner was first, Joran Vale, decorated officer, public face of Elise's sentencing. He died inside a pleasure dome, surrounded by synthetic courtesans and falsified peace. The lights flickered once, and then silence. His body was found staring upward, eyes scorched out, hands fused to the table. A message was etched into the wall. She believed in mercy. That night, 10 senators fled the Capitol. 3 disappeared en route. 2 arrived headless. The rest, they hid. But hiding was a game for the living. And the Revenant didn't come for games. He came for reckoning. Each kill wasn't just vengeance. It was a story, a retelling of Elise's death. She had gone in peace. He brought consequence. But not everyone feared him. Some wanted to stop him. They sent a fleet, 12 warships, automated defense spheres, tactical AIs loaded with counter-human algorithms. He didn't fire first. He let them. 37 direct hits, no shield, no dodge, just fire, smoke, and then his ship kept coming, and when it reached them, there were no survivors, only a black box recording. It played 3 words over and over. You chose this. And back on Earth, no celebration echoed, only mourning, because we weren't proud of what he was. We were terrified of what we had become. Even the generals whispered among themselves, how far will he go? And the answer came not from the Revenant, but from the stars themselves. Because for the first time in 1,000 years, alien systems began to shut their gates. They weren't defending their empires anymore. They were barricading them, afraid, not of humanity, but of the one thing we had tried to forget. Our monster, our mirror, our last weapon. The one thing that speaks not with peace, but with the wrath of all that has been stolen from us. The one who no longer fights for Earth, but for a single fallen voice, a voice they silenced. And now, he would silence them all. The Revenant's ship emerged over the skyline of Descartes Prime like a wound in the stars, black, burning, and wrong. People looked up, not in awe, but in dread. He didn't cloak. He didn't warn. He simply arrived. Beneath him, the city lights flickered. Whole blocks shorted out, one after the other, like the system itself recognized the gravity of what was coming. The defense chancellor of Descartes tried to evacuate. He never made it, because the Revenant didn't land. He descended. Through skyscrapers, through fire-retardant barriers, through reinforced alloy windows, like physics itself bent to let him pass. The chancellor's bunker sealed. They thought they were safe, but they forgot one thing. You cannot hide from a man who has already died. The lights inside the vault went out, and all that remained was the faint sound of air being taken. When the guards reconnected the security feed, it showed the chancellor collapsed over the table, not a mark on him, dead, but not from trauma, from fear. The medtechs confirmed it, heart failure from complete parasympathetic override. He didn't kill him. He let his presence do it, and to the Revenant, that was mercy. He was saving the pain for someone else, for the one who ordered the sentence, for the Emperor himself. Far across the stars, that throne sat heavy, built from the bones of old wars and lined with obsidian mined from conquered worlds. The Imperial Hall had never been breached, not once, until now. Alarms wailed in 7 languages. Elite guards were deployed, orbital mines primed, but all the Emperor could do was stare at the single message playing on every holo screen. Elise is waiting. And then, the palace shields dropped. No explosion, no override, just failure. Systemic and sudden. Because he wasn't just hunting them. He was inside their networks, inside their tech, inside their bloodstream. He had become the consequence they engineered. The Emperor stood, robes trembling, and asked the only question that truly mattered. Does he want to kill me? His vizier, pale and wide-eyed, shook his head. He wants you to feel it first. The doors buckled, but before they shattered, the Revenant spoke, not with words, but with memory. Across the palace intercom, Elise's final moments played, her voice, soft but defiant. I forgive you, she had said, and those words echoed through the halls like a curse, because they knew the one person they silenced with cruelty was the only one who still showed them grace. And now, that grace was gone. The doors caved in, the room filled with smoke and silence. The guards raised their weapons, none fired, because they saw him, and in him they saw judgment. He walked forward, slow, measured, like time itself was bending to prolong the Emperor's fear. And when they finally stood face to face, no words passed, only the weight of all that had been stolen. He didn't raise his weapon. He didn't need to. The Emperor fell to his knees. He begged, but the Revenant didn't kill beggars. He killed tyrants, and when it was done, there was no triumph, no anthem, only ashes, because vengeance does not sing, it mourns. And in that mourning, he finally knelt, where Elise had died, and for the first time since she was taken, he wept. The Revenant stood alone, not surrounded by armies, not backed by fleets, just still. The throne room burned around him, marble cracked, statues melted, banners crumbled to ash. But he didn't move. His breathing was quiet, like the war inside him had finally exhaled. He had done what no species in the galaxy dared even imagine. He ended the Emperor without a war, and he did it with grief. Word spread faster than light. Whole systems fell silent. Entire regimes halted their campaigns mid-orbit. The Revenant didn't destroy the Empire, he made it irrelevant. One by one, the old guard vanished, some into exile, some into their own blades, because their symbol of invincibility, of cruelty and control, was gone, not by an armada, but by a man, a single man who carried love like a weapon and made grief into a storm. On the outer fringe worlds, children asked their parents, who was she, the one he loved so much? And the answer echoed in 1,000 dialects. She was the light they tried to smother, the girl who smiled through cages, who sang even as the electrodes burned, who forgave her captors with her final breath. And he was the darkness they made. The Revenant didn't stay in the palace. He left before dawn, and no one stopped him. No one even tried, because in that silence, the galaxy understood something ancient, something primal. There are forces you cannot leash: grief, love, justice. They do not ask for permission. They arrive, and they change everything. Years passed, but legends don't die, not truly. On the edge of what used to be the Imperial core, a memorial stands. Not of marble, not of gold, just a tree, planted in scorched soil, and beneath it, a plaque with words etched in human script, for Elise, who forgave, and for the one who didn't. Some say the Revenant returned once, long after the fires died down. No armor, no rage, just a worn man, older now, with eyes full of ghosts. They say he sat under that tree, didn't speak, didn't cry, just listened, as if waiting for her voice in the wind. Others claim he walked still, out in the black, watching, not to kill, not to conquer, but to remember, and to make sure no one forgets. Because the galaxy learned a truth carved in flame. You can break a body, you can silence a voice, but if you touch what a human loves, they will bring down your stars.